Hail Internet! It's Paul, special guest Dave,
Hey, what's happening?
and Matt. We are here talking about the biggest movie of all time, maybe. I don't know. Avengers Infinity War. We've all seen it
Yes.
this weekend. And I avoided spoilers. I don't know, did you guys avoid spoilers before you
Pretty
saw
much.
it?
I tried to avoid spoilers. However, on my Marvel Contest of Champions app on the message board, as soon as I logged on, there was a spoiler right there on the message board. Thanks a lot, you.
All right. So there are spoilers in this. We're talking spoilers. So FYI, you've been warned.
Yes,
if you haven't seen
warned.
it yet.
Yeah, you have no spoilers.
So spoilers. But yeah, so I was able to go in, other than obviously seeing all the trailers and knowing all that stuff. I was surprised. I knew there would be I assumed there'd be the finger click.
Yeah.
You guys are still here. No, Dave, you're disappearing. But it was still like, whoa! It seemed like, I mean, maybe if I did the numbers, it would actually equal to half. But it felt like more than half of the cast disappeared. I mean, like, for instance, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they lost.
All them scenes.
Rocket
they were
is
out.
basically
Yeah.
Rocket and Nebula, who wasn't really a Guardian
Right.
for
Yeah.
starters.
No.
Like, their team, disproportionately,
Yeah.
the odds,
Right.
they rolled crappy. And they all
Well,
disappeared.
hey, it's half the planet.
Yeah.
So some people are closer together. Who cares?
So, anyway, all right. So, yes, thoughts. Just initial thoughts first. Dave, go for it.
I really, really loved it. And I actually thought he went easy on him. I thought Thanos went easy on him compared to what I read in the books. I mean, I didn't want to see everyone getting smashed and hammered up, but hey, it happened, and when it did, I was just sitting there prepared like, well, you know what? I figured this would happen.
You know, it's true as much as maybe the worst, genocide ever perpetrated in a movie or anything.
Yeah.
He does come off as like a reluctant tyrant in a way, or like it's something he feels he needs to do, as opposed to like, mustache twirling.
Right.
I'll kill them all for no reason in particular. Like,
Kill half of them all.
yeah, no, he's insane. But I'm just saying, within his own horrible code,
Yes.
he does have. There's a sense of
Like this needs to be
reluctance
done.
about it. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't think I want to kill everyone, but I'm more accustomed to the Thanos who is like so in love with death that it's like half. Oh no, baby, I want to give you everyone's life.
Right. There were people
Which is from the
who-
comics, obviously.
People who imagined, because that's how it is in the comics, that it would be Hela that he was in love with, since she's the goddess of death. And last time we saw her, I feel like we didn't actually see her die. It's just like going up against whatever creature that was. That
Surtur.
Surtur, yeah, you figure, well, she's not going to survive that. Or if she did, she'd come right after the rest of the Asgardians, but she hasn't. So, it would have been interesting if she was there, but she's apparently not.
Right. It looked like they might be setting up the relationship angle, like, oh, it'll be Hela and but no, it didn't go that way.
Thanos, no.
In fact, maybe the representation of death, in a way, was Red Skull, who was kind of our surprise.
Yeah, I thought that was
Surprise,
kinda
visit.
eerie. Yeah.
Because he has the billowing robes, and he's
Well,
like,
if it is, though, it's not the same type of relationship.
Exactly,
It's not like,
exactly, that's what
it's
I'm
like, oh, Red Skull, you're
Right.
so great, Red Skull.
They
I
didn't go-
love you.
Right.
No.
they didn't go with the romance between Red
Right.
Skull and Thanos.
No, they didn't.
They did not.
No.
But so all right, I know we're jumping around a little bit, but still. Paul, your thoughts, in the pantheon of Marvel films, how'd you like this one?
I liked it. I think that the challenge was fitting all those different characters in there. And I'm fine with the sacrifices they had to make in order to make that work. So there were a number of character moments that were underplayed, or sort of perhaps put off until the next movie, which again I'm fine with.
Was there a particular one that, when you say character moments underplayed, is there one in particular that strikes out to you?
Well, it's like Hulk and or Banner and Natasha seeing each other again after all that
Sure.
time. It's like
They kinda like-
they had the moment
could
of
tell
awkwardness, but it was like
she
did
missed him.
anything happen? Nothing
Right.
happened. Okay, fine. Which is there's no time. There's no time. I don't think I would have liked them to take a lot of time for moments like that personally.
Right. The movie was already 2.5 hours.
Right. Well, it's.
It actually could have been 5.5 for me. I could have gone for the whole.
I love the movie.
I think it's. Anytime you get into a discussion like the initial one that sort of prompted it, when they were at Hawkeye's house in Ultron. I mean, I wasn't in love with that. You know, it's like, okay, they set that up, whatever. But having a scene like that in this one, I just wouldn't. I don't think it would have fit.
I hear you. And you mentioned sacrificing. It felt like sacrifice was actually maybe one of the key themes of this movie, and probably into the next movie, which we'll talk about as well here. We'll talk about like where we see this going, because this is obviously. There's a continuation. This is an Empire Strikes Back type movie where all things are horrible, but then they'll be good later. But yeah, sacrifice. It came up over and over again. The idea of like sacrificing one person.
Yeah, I thought Cap was going to try and make that ultimate sacrifice when Thanos finally made his way to Vision. Cap's the fighter, and he's going up against Thanos. I just knew that, like, oh, Cap, I got your grave dug up for you, man. But
I think.
Well,
I think that's. I'll just jump to this right now. I feel like that's the way the last movie's gonna end.
Oh, okay.
I think Cap. Whatever. You know how this idea of there's a soul stone, you have to sacrifice something to use it, right? Yeah. So like it's such somebody you love. So in the case of Gamora, it gets sacrificed.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe somehow Cap volunteers to sacrifice himself so that they can use the soul stone in the glove. I don't know. I'm going with that idea. Anyway, who knows? But
who knows?
I was jumping ahead on that one. All right, but yes, I thought the same thing, that maybe there was a moment where it looked like Cap might be, because Cap is the one person in particular who's like, what does he say? Like, we don't trade lives or something like that. Whereas everyone else is trading lives. Scarlet Witch, even though she's sad about it, Vision's like, kill me off, do it. And she's like, all right. And she, okay.
Twist my arm,
all right. And Gamora's like, kill me off. And Scarlet's like, okay. And he tries, and his gun turns into bubbles.
Yes.
And it's for Cap, it feels like that's a line he won't cross.
It's like Cap would be on the same line as Vision and Gamora, where they were willing to die.
Right. He would say, kill me, as opposed to, I'll kill you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between then, obviously, we have the Thanos sacrifices Gamora for the Soul Stone, but that's an unwilling participant.
It really,
she's not like, kill me, please.
And if
she's trying to kill herself, so
is going to make that sacrifice, he would learn from the other mistakes that Vision made, in which don't tell anybody, because then they'll be like, we don't trade lives. So he's like, I can trade my own life, is how Cap should play it, in order to keep everybody saying no, because otherwise it'd be like, okay, like, oh, thanks. Yeah, no, Cap, you should trade your life. That's fine. So.
Also, don't do it maybe when the person has a time stone. It can just go back in time and screw it up anyway.
That really freaked me out there. I just knew that they had gotten it, and I forgot about the time stone. But when I didn't forget about that time stone? When Doctor Strange was using it and he was fighting against Thanos, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, Thanos has the reality gem and all this other stuff. Dude, you got the time gem. Like, can't you use it and go back before Thanos got all of these gems? But then that wouldn't have made for the great movie that we saw.
You're right. It's the time turner from Harry Potter problem.
I thought you were going to say before he stabbed Iron Man. You wouldn't have to go all the way back before he got the gems.
Well, right. I mean, like, he uses the time loop. Obviously, in the Doctor Strange movie, he sets a loop until this uber powerful creature is brought to its knees. Now, maybe the fact that Thanos has these other gems, maybe it's a different story. But you're right. The time
it doesn't torture me, that part. It's interesting hearing people being upset with the movie. Like, one of the things I've been hearing is people being upset about the fact that it's clear that we're going to get Black Panther and Spider-Man and a bunch of other people back.
Right. Spider-Man's got a movie. They're filming it.
Yeah. So it'd be hard to have a Spider-Man movie and a Black Panther movie without those two characters.
Unless you're just flashing back in time, and that's not what they're doing.
I don't think so.
So you're saying people are mad because they've given away the fact that they're not dead?
Well, it's like, I don't feel like there's stakes because these people are going to come back to life. And it's like, well, okay. I mean, it's like, it's hard for me to, I can't get, I'm sorry, people. I think a lot of people like this, like, oh, more people. They wanted, like, Monger, not Ironmonger. What's
Killmonger.
Killmonger. No, not Killmonger. Sorry, from Civil War. War Machine.
You know what?
They wanted somebody to die, so like War Machine, why didn't he die?
I thought War Machine was actually gonna die, solely based on the Civil War Part 2 comic book. At the beginning of it, they went out into space to fight Thanos, and Thanos killed War Machine. So I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna tie that into this movie when they fight Thanos, and War Machine already lost his leg.
Yeah, wow, man, you're cruel.
He's only half a hero anyway.
Yeah.
It's no big loss. He's just a machine.
Yeah. Well, you out of here, Rhodey. So at least that's what I thought was going to happen.
I see.
Wow.
No, that's cool. And he actually does. He's one of the people that doesn't fade away.
He doesn't fade away either.
It's
So
good
he's
you
still
figured
around.
you're not one of those henchmen, man. You would have been like, oh, just kill his ass.
Let's go over real fast. It might be tricky, but the death/fade away count. So there's the people that died,
Yes.
and then there's people that faded away.
Correct.
So we'll just separate them out.
Okay.
So I feel like the people that died are much less likely to come back than the people that faded away. So I'm not saying they won't come back in some way, but there's an extra little hurdle you got to cross.
That's true.
So the people that died would be Heimdall,
Right.
Loki,
Right.
Gamora,
Right.
and I'm forgetting one.
Vision.
Vision, right.
Vision.
So those four are kind of
Probably
off the
more
board.
that we don't know.
Like,
or
it'll take something special, like a giant power glove, to bring them back.
Right.
But,
Which is what I was thinking was going to happen.
so the people
Get
that
ahead of myself.
faded away, there's a larger number of those, but basically everyone on the Guardians of the Galaxy except Rocket, and Falcon, Bucky, Black Panther, Spider-Man.
Did Star-Lord go?
Star-Lord as
Yeah,
well.
the whole, I would say, Guardians of the Galaxy disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm missing a couple there, but that's your
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, of course.
Strange,
That's a
yeah.
huge one.
And Scarlet Witch. You mentioned her.
I did, or maybe I didn't. If I didn't, Scarlet Witch. Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because Vision died and then she disappeared. I thought one or the other of them would die, and then I was like, oh, they both went.
Yeah, they're
All right
both
then.
gone. Yeah.
Another
But
interesting
note
thing
to
about-
you.
Who's that? Scarlet
Movie?
Witch. Okay, so Thanos has this reality gem in his glove, and I know Scarlet Witch is a mutant. Hey, guess what her mutant power is? Like the reality warping power? I guess she didn't want to combat that, but once again, would not have made for the great movie we saw.
Well, now in the movies, she derives her power, I think, from the Mind Stone, right?
Oh,
She
Scarlet Witch.
derives it from the Mind Stone.
Wasn't it the Baron, like when he was experimenting with she and her brother, he used the Mind Stone to give them powers, I think. So she's connected to that power, I think. Now, you can tell me in the
It may have
comments.
been experiments, I guess, that he was doing with the Mind Stone, I guess.
I thought that's how he bestowed the powers upon them. So she's actually connected to one of the power
I have to
stones
watch
in
that
that way.
again. I forgot.
Right.
Me, I'm just
No, but you're right. In the
Okay.
comic, there's a difference. They obviously had to.
no more
Find a way
mutants.
to-
She could have been like, no more Thanos with the glove. Like the House of M. But I guess
Sure.
Right. I mean, she's not a mutant since they can't do mutants, since the mutants are
Enhanced.
X-Men.
There are enhanced in the
Yes.
field.
It's X-Men property. So unless if you declare somebody a mutant, then they can't use them in the Marvel Cinematic Universe unless
Oh, that's crap.
they're like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which for some reason you can. But they're not calling them mutants though.
Also Nick Fury's faded away as well.
Yes, and I forget. Not Maria.
Maria.
Hill. Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was in the post-credit scene. I got this out of it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I thought there was a little extra pathos. It was a very affecting scene when Spider-Man is going away, and he's
Yes.
he's asking Stark to come. He's like, Mr. Stark. I feel like his spider sense was telling him he was about to disappear because he was like, I feel weird. Like he wasn't. He was one of the few people that was like, it's coming, but it hadn't arrived yet, you know. And then suddenly started. I was like, oh, he's got the extra like, ew. Anyway, it was. What were some powerful scenes, emotionally affecting scenes for you guys?
For me, that was actually one of them. I am a diehard Spider-Man fan. That's my guy. And, like I said, I pretty much knew that Thanos would be wiping some people out. But when I saw that they were letting some people live, I started thinking, okay, well, some people get
Well, sure, Spider-Man's got out of the movie, so how would he
Why not
possibly?
my guy? Yeah. So yeah, when I saw him starting to fade, it was like, oh wait, actually that was the damn spoiler that kind of hit me.
Oh, that was the spoiler spoiled it for you.
I was hoping that it was a wrong spoiler because we get to the end of the freaking movie.
You didn't believe
and it's
it.
like, okay, he's still here. And then I started seeing people fade away, and then I'm like, no, it's not this way.
No, Peter.
Yes.
Yes, Peter. Yes. Yeah, that was probably the big one. Was there a scene for you, sir, that stuck out as like a particularly effective, emotionally resonant? Obviously, Gamora being sacrificed. That scene. I mean, she tries to kill herself. I mean, that's pretty dark stuff.
Yeah.
For Marvel.
I mean, I was affected when Star-Lord was getting upset about finding out about the death. You know, even though it was sort of like, you know, don't do it, don't hit him.
Mm-hmm.
It was still like, okay, I can feel, you know, his
Right. He
anger.
dooms the universe, but on the other hand, you can understand his
I know why you do
being
this all.
upset.
But there are a lot of, you know, I feel like there are a lot of things in there where it's sort of like, you know, if not for that, everything would have worked out just fine.
It kind of reminded me. I'm forgetting the particulars, but the Battlestar Galactica series, the more recent one,
Right.
at the end when they're all coming together and trying to create this perfect balance, but one of the I don't know, never mind.
Yes, there was
Okay.
a point where you thought, oh, is this going to work out? And no, it's not. It's
not,
got to end
because there's
horribly.
one like revenge factor thing of like,
Right.
I know your
Right.
thoughts and I hate you now.
One thing. So, you know, I think any ending where you didn't have Thanos being happy at killing a bunch of people wasn't going to happen.
You know what? I actually, another moving moment, I know this may sound kind of sick, was when Thanos sacrificed Gamora. You know, when he realized that he had to sacrifice something that he loved, and it was like, I already know where this is going.
Well, yeah, it was bad too because Gamora doesn't get. I mean, she thinks he has no capacity for love, so she's like,
Right.
ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
bet. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're.
Girl, you don't need
There's
no
a reason
girl.
you're here. Like, I have one to drop off.
Well, and she, you know,
But-
she clearly had feelings for Thanos because when she thought he was dead, she was upset. She wasn't
Right.
like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah. She killed his phantom illusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now she also did. She made the choice. It was one of those sacrifice moments
Right.
where Thanos is like, "I'm killing your sister Nebula, tearing her apart unless you tell me the location."
Yes.
And she's like, "Okay, fine." So she's like, "Don't kill the person."
Well,
Yeah.
it's like I've heard some people argue in a way that it's sort of like, oh, maybe I can save the person later. So it's like it seems like it's a crucial moment where Thanos is going to get what he wants. But it's like, well, he's still got some other stones to get. Okay, fine, you can have this one as long as you don't torture somebody. And then some people argue that Doctor Strange was sort of like, Iron Man is important, so we can't, have Iron Man killed. But I don't think that's what it is. He went through and saw there's only one way, and at some point he was like, okay, now it's the end game. I think that Thanos, the only way that they could win is to let Thanos win and then defeat him. I think there's still a plan. I'm hoping, now it's a little difficult, that maybe Doctor Strange astral projected out of his body and his body died and his astral guy is still running around.
I do think it was part of a plan. I mean, in terms of Doctor
Yes,
Strange
I think
saw the one
he
path out of
didn't have
14
any,
million.
didn't have any, and you would think his astral projection would die just as well as his body.
Um,
So that's a long shot, but I think that is part of Doctor Strange's plan that he would win, and then they had to.
He basically ran the simulations.
Yeah. Yes.
So he's like, okay, 14 million times we lose, 1 out of 14 plus million we win. These are the guideposts that have to happen in order to get to that spot.
Right.
And one of them, I guess, involves half the universe dying,
Yeah.
including him.
Yes.
That's the part where you're like, well, then how do you control the rest?
Yeah.
If you're gone, I mean, that's a toss up. But
Right. So then you would need some sort of remember Spock moment,
Right.
where
Right.
he.
Or like I was even thinking, if it's the time stone, is there a way to, I don't know, create a loop that involves the time stone maybe going back in time, like in other words, leaving the glove at some point or something, where it like whoop whoop and it goes to someone else in the future. I don't know. I'm trying to think how they get the time stone away
Right,
from.
exactly. I agree.
Is it the glove they take, the whole glove, or do they take a certain stone? Or?
I don't know. And I felt like I heard him say that he destroyed the glove. Who knows?
Right now, so the act of doing the kill everyone does look like the glove itself was wrecked.
Yeah.
The gems were fine, but the glove was bad. Now, we do know. We know where the forge is. The forge is able to be lit,
Sure,
and the dude has the mold for the glove. So you could easily have Idri, the Tyrion Lannister, reforge a new glove, which probably now that he's been introduced and he's not dead, I don't think he disappeared.
No, probably not.
You could, and Thor's still around.
Sure.
You could make me a glove. I don't know.
Pump, yeah.
Pump.
Yeah.
Thor was excellent in the movie. I like his arc was
yeah.
And I'm not a Thor fan.
And it's nice to see another set of writers have a handle on him too, because that's been my sort of criticism of Joss Whedon in the Avengers. I don't think he had I don't think anybody had a handle on how to write for Thor at that point, or Captain America. It wasn't until the Russo brothers, and I think the Russo brothers did a better job with Thor than Joss Whedon did. I think you probably saw.
In what way?
I think his humor is more prevalent in this movie and in Ragnarok than it was. I think it wasn't as good. I think in a way he was more of a straight man in a way.
I loved his humor in Ragnarok. I felt like if they had done that level of humor in this movie, it would have been maybe out of place.
Right, but it's still the same. He's when he was around other people, he was kind of acting
more
dickish than he was in previous movies.
And he was still there were some
like
good jokes.
He knew he was being a dick in this one, and I think in both Avengers movies, I think he's like, I don't know that I'm being a dick.
But it was that great. I mean, and there was some nice moments there where he, like when Rocket is talking to him, I think Rocket's like, trying to be the captain or something, and he's like, what if you're wrong, and like Thor has to kind of admit there, like, well, okay, maybe if that happens, then boy, life's horrible. He goes through all the people his whole family, and when they're having the family competition, which is actually played a little bit for laughs, but.
Right. And I think that's part of his character in a way, It's like there are all these times when Thor has gone into battle and laughed, and even when it's really bad, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna run into battle anyway. That's just what I do, no matter how bad it is. So here's another situation where it's like, wow, I just lost all my family, and the odds do seem against us, but I'm sorry, I'm going.
Well, and it's kind of your point, which is. Oh, he could have done X, but then the movie wouldn't have been such a good. Yep. Thanos was pretty accurate. You should have cut his head off, or cut his arm off, or something other than bury axe in chest and then let him monologue. Like, good. But yeah, obviously.
But no, all you need to do is snap his fingers, which you can still do with something in his chest, just like poor Tony Stark. He had something in his chest too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could have snapped his fingers. That just wouldn't have done anything.
So obviously, what lends itself to the idea that Strange has a plan is that when they're on their way to Titan,
yes,
Strange is very clear. Look, if it comes to it, saving the gem or saving you guys, I'm saving the gem.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And
so that's what makes you think that. Him seeing the he's like, oh well, no, I got to get the gem up,
and you feel like,
and that's a good way for me to sell that I'm giving the gem up is that I'm doing it to save Tony's life. So I don't. It's possible that it is because Tony figures so importantly. I just don't think it is. I think it's they have to give it. He has to win and think he's won in order to really defeat him.
One way I could see Tony being kind of important in that aspect, is when. I guess when Tony and Thanos came face to face, and Thanos knew who he was. Yeah. He was just like, well, I'm cursed with knowledge. Like I know who you are too. And maybe the reason that Thanos knows who Tony is because, like you said, maybe Tony is kind of important in this grand scheme of things. But how would Thanos know that? Does he know?
It'd be weird that it's like, okay, but it's not my. I know who you are, and you're very important, and I can't kill you.
I mean, other than Gamora. The two people that have maybe the closest, if you'll say, interaction with Thanos appear to be Iron Man and Star-Lord, or kind of like the two with maybe. Although there's a cool wizards duel with.
Wait, what?
I'm saying in terms of like if you were to pick a character that would be the ultimate one to defeat Thanos, based on this movie.
This movie.
You would think. Yeah, just this movie. You would think it would be Iron Man or Star-Lord or maybe a rejuvenated Gamora or something. Maybe
or
Nebula?
Someone whose family was killed by...
Drax? You think
Drax? I'm just saying, Drax is,
But he's gone. I mean, you're right. This is a good point.
Yeah.
I feel like the end of the next movie, whatever that movie is going to be titled, the Ash people will be returned near the end. It won't be like, oh, and they're back, and now they can help us out. It'll be like whatever action destroys Thanos also brings back Drax.
And presumably, that's really when people got to sacrifices that are they'll have to make sacrifices that will be more permanent. So Iron Man and Captain America, who were pretty much saying that they're done.
Right, their contracts are going to run, and they're like,
so so the people who you thought would have been the last one for this one, no, they got one more to do.
I mean, I can just imagine a situation where Iron Man is going to try to use the gauntlet, but in order to use it, he's got to use the Soul Stone. But to use the Soul Stone, he has to sacrifice somebody, and somebody he loves or cares about. And then we get that idea that even though they're at odds, he and Cap have always been like, man. I still love you. You got to do a bro. Hey, yeah, it's flex.
That's possible.
But
anyway. I mean,
I don't know. That's one of many possibilities.
Yeah.
Way too early to speculate on that. So I enjoy. So what are some of the comedic beats that you enjoyed, or some memorable lines? I like the fact that even when he was very serious, Thor kept calling Rocket a rabbit.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was pretty nice. Full speed, rabbit.
What he called them losers as he was, or whatever.
Also, I did enjoy. Because there were some great moments between Doctor Strange and Iron Man where they're competing egos.
Yes.
And the one where, Iron Man says something like, well, what have you been doing? And the line from Doctor Strange to Iron Man's face is, I'm protecting your reality, douchebag. That was a pretty effective line. Jerk to jerk. But were there some lines that stuck out particularly for you guys?
I liked when Scarlet Witch joined the fight, and Okoye was like,
"Oh yeah, she was saying what everyone was asking. Wait, you just literally destroyed an entire regiment of these. Where have you been the whole time?" But apparently that was a plan to pull her out or something. I
don't know, but it was after that. Then
Vision
the
once
Vision
they got
was
the
more
stone out for her to destroy it.
Vision was more in danger at that point.
Yeah.
So that's why Shuri had to pull out her things. And one thing is, I heard speculated, and who knows? I mean, apparently what she was trying to do was take out the stone out of his head and was trying to reconnect all the things. But apparently she didn't do it because they didn't.
She didn't. Right. It was kind of like what was the point of that?
But
unless maybe she learned some information she'll use later.
Maybe she backed him up. Maybe he's his brain is someplace else.
And that I would not like because I am not a Vision fan.
You're not? What?
Go ahead and
not in the comics?
Not even in the comics.
Oh,
so what is it about Vision that drives you nuts? Or
love him.
I don't know, I'm just sick of androids.
Okay.
I don't know.
I wouldn't.
So he was a human that had all those powers, you'd be okay?
I don't know.
Maybe.
You don't even know. You just haven't thought about it.
I would say I wouldn't
so bigoted against androids.
I wouldn't like the backup idea just because, again, it kind of removes the stakes from the thing. Like, oh my God, this was a horrible event. Oh no.
And I like
push a button. I'm back.
Yep. No. Well, he is, a brain of, so
right.
it's just.
He's Westworld.
Yep, he is.
We'll be talking about that tomorrow, probably. Okay.
Yeah, and I like the Vision. And the reason why I like the Vision, because in the comics, once they were fighting, I feel like, I can't remember who they were fighting. It wasn't, it was somebody else. I think it might have been Drax the Destroyer. Anyway, so the Avengers were all fighting him, and he goes up, to the stratosphere, and he can fly, basically, because he can make himself really light. But he made himself the hardest substance in the world, and he dropped down on this guy, just smashed into him. There was it was like a bomb dropped on him. I was like, yeah, Vision.
Now,
yeah,
you know what?
You're powerful.
That right there would turn me. I'm sorry, Vision. I had no idea you was getting gully like that.
I will say this. In the movie, in this movie in particular, his powers are pretty nerfed. Like, he doesn't really do much other than help me.
It's like I was thinking later. I didn't think it at the
stabbed,
time, but it's like when they're trying to take his thing out, it's like, oh, you can't become immaterial, so they can pass right through you. But I guess that's the thing they have. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah,
I can't turn himself. No, we know exactly what we need to get out of you.
He holds his side the whole time. You're like,
Yeah, they did something to him, and
ow.
Scarlet Witch was able to heal him
I
because he
can't-
wasn't able to heal himself. You see, because they knew what they were doing.
But yeah, I mean, from what I'm not a big Vision in the comics guy. I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds like his powers in the comics are like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
mega grade, whereas in the movies, generally speaking, it's kind of
He really should be kicking everybody's ass all
Yeah.
the time.
right.
When in what is it?
Unfortunately,
In
it's
the
true.
Civil War, when he went through Giant Man or Ant-Man as Giant Man, he could have just became a little corporeal, just to mess with his heart and knock him out. But no, he didn't. He just went through and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what he does all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
he does that all the time.
Like I
A
could.
phase into your
Yep.
into your
You,
body.
like, tickle your heart and make it fall asleep or die or whatever.
So what are some things that were maybe less effective? Was there something less effective about this movie, or it was like, it could have been better?
It took me a while to get used to the pace of the movie. They didn't even have any opening shot. It's just like, no, you're inside of the ship where Thanos is kicking Thor's ass and everybody, so that was weird. And
Beat up Hulk.
in a way, it was weird. Like the trailers for it, like screwed you up too. Where you never saw Hulk running alongside Captain America as you did in the
Yeah.
trailer.
Yeah,
you never saw
that
that.
big scene.
Yeah, no,
That was a
fooled
total
you.
like
Yep.
Yeah, totally
trailer.
misleading. And even with the Hulk not coming out, I'm like, what's going on with that? Like,
Yeah.
the Hulk, are you scared? I understand you got your butt kicked by Thanos at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd be traumatized, but you're the Hulk.
That seems to be the direction they're going in. That Hulk himself has discovered there's a greater power in the universe than himself, or something, and is scared. But I mean,
He got his butt
maybe.
kicked.
But he got his butt kicked kind of by Thor as well at times. But whatever.
But he came back to
But they're
Thor.
buddies. They're friends.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
He didn't feel like Thor would kill him.
right.
And I would think that would drive him more to want to come out and like, no,
Yeah.
I'm Hulk. I'm the
Right,
strongest.
right.
Hulk is the strongest.
Like instinct. Rah!
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, theory, and they haven't really established in the comics, but it's sort of like, just keep getting mad because he's supposed to get stronger as he gets
As he
madder.
gets madder.
He can get stronger, madder. But apparently not.
Yeah. Right.
Apparently not. I don't think they've ever established that in the comics where it's like now he's more powerful because he's more angry.
They can just poke at him enough times
Yeah.
and finally
Yeah.
like, screw you guys. But yeah, so that sounds like, I thought there was going to be a payoff where he's in the suit and he's trying to get the Hulk to
Yeah.
come out before the suit gets crushed.
Yeah,
and I
well,
thought,
that's-
that's what'll happen, but it
Also in the
didn't.
trailer we saw him, Bruce Banner, standing next to like the glove of the because the arm got torn off. Remember?
Yeah.
We never saw that.
Yeah, I think that's maybe just they're going to pay that off in the next movie. I would
Or
think.
did
At
it
some
cut it?
point,
That's all.
Hulk
They're like,
comes
we can
back,
put that
right?
in
So it'll be
here
a,
to fool you.
we need Hulk because he did not turn into Ash guy. He's still there.
All right.
So I imagine,
Yeah.
unless Hulk turned to Ash, but Bruce Banner didn't. Okay. I imagine that at the right moment we'll see Hulk return.
I'm sure. we
Hulk
will.
smash.
That's the ironic thing, in that people that you thought Cap and Iron Man and Black Widow and all the original Avengers, Thor, they're still there.
Yeah, the
so-
original panel was like they rolled snake eyes. Woo, we're still
Oh,
here.
you guys from the first movie? Still
The whatever CGI is what it is. It's cool. I'm fine with it. It didn't take me out of the movie, but the CGI, while awesome, I thought for Thanos and generally looked very good. The Black Order, some of the CGI there was a little wonky, but I'm whatever.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that Carrie Coon was Proxima Midnight.
Yeah. So
There's no way that you could tell at all.
Right.
That's the mistake I think I make with these characters, right? Even with in Guardians of the Galaxy, the villain in that one.
Ronan?
Ronan.
Ronan, yeah. It's like you shouldn't be too two-dimensional with these characters. It's like, I just want to kill. I just want to, At least the guy who was like, he was a little
Ebony
more
Maw.
interesting. Yeah, Ebony Maw.
Yeah, he was the most
more
interesting of
yeah.
that group for sure. I liked his. He was like the herald in some ways. Where he'd come out and, you are all blessed to be killed in the name of Thanos. Rejoice.
Right.
It's like, oh, great.
Oh, Thanos is gonna kill me.
Okay, I just thought of a weird tie-in with, as you mentioned, Gary Kuhn. She was in Leftovers.
Yes.
Which we've covered on this channel, by the way.
Yes.
Leftovers is about what happens when
Yes.
a big portion of the world disappears.
Right, exactly.
And that's what this is all
Yes.
about, where suddenly half the world disappears.
Yeah, hopefully
Anyway.
they,
I'm gonna have to
because I
check
don't
her
think we've
out.
had too
Yeah.
many
Put 'em on the
people
watch.
who afterwards that aren't the superheroes who are aware of what's going on. Hopefully they're not like, oh, we just completely forgot that these people existed. Hope they're actually aware that, the population has been halved.
I think we got that notion from Tony Stark, right? He realizes Spider-Man disappears. I think they are left. They have the knowledge that
I
those
hope
people
so.
disappeared.
I mean, sometimes you have people who are there at the event, and certainly he is at the event.
You're
so,
saying
Was
that
he
somebody-
there when Thanos snapped his fingers? Like, does he know that people are disappearing because Thanos snapped his fingers?
Does Tony Stark know that? You're
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
I think yes. I think because they knew that was the potential. They've mentioned it multiple
Right,
times in the
right,
movie.
right.
Like he could
Right.
snap his fingers and
Yeah,
half the
and-
people disappear.
Right.
I think they'd be like, oh, that's what just happened.
Right, but it's like previous times when they had a calamity, like after Sokovia, they get mad at the heroes. I hope that's not what we're due for here. Where it's like, it's like
You guys, you brought this upon us.
I think it's important that everybody okay, we're living in a world now where half the population is gone, so everybody in the world should know that, and hopefully they don't blame the heroes.
I'll say this. I mean, we're talking half the population. We're talking like half the puppies, half the little kitties.
Yeah.
Like you're at least you can leave the pets alone. That's what I'm saying, but no, they're probably. Does that mean like plant life? I don't know what constitutes what goes into the half. I don't know. Is it like humanoid species?
Is salmon gone? Can I still go? I mean, that's
right?
life.
Is there if you're going fishing? Is it suddenly a lot harder to catch a fish?
Maybe it's not animals, and that's why Rocket's still around. I don't know, and I preface that with I don't care.
I think it's important. All right.
It's sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
It's a dumb plan anyway, even if it was just humans.
I liked Groot's little narrative where he's at his teenage angst bit and he's playing defender, but then he sees the sacrifice. He sees the sacrifice that Thor's willing to make to theoretically sacrifice himself to start the Forge, and that act of genuine sacrifice encourages Groot to then go, you know what? I'm gonna chop off my arm and make it part of your weapon.
But yeah, it's not like the first Groot though, sacrificing his life. It's just an arm.
Yeah, it's just an arm. He'll grow it back.
Yeah.
Although another great funny line, actually, we were talking about the humor when Thor is like, "Oh yeah, Groot. They taught it back in Asgard. It was an elective."
Yeah.
He took the "I am Groot" elective. That's awesome.
That's what they should have. I'm Groot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Groot.
I'm Groot.
I'm Groot.
I'm Groot. And then I'm Groot.
100.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
like just for an hour.
the easiest class.
Oh yeah, it was.
I don't know. I took
just
this
have
pass fail.
Thor
I
and
just
Groot talk.
get
which you
100 on
could
this
do.
class.
That's another thing that.
I meant to say
think
I am
enough
Groot.
people-
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Shoot, I was offended. Like I can't. Yeah. I can't believe he said
How
I'm
dare you
Groot.
speak to
Oh wait,
him
he
like
said
that?
I am Groot.
No,
Oh,
yeah.
That's fine.
Sorry, I cut you off.
That's all right. That this, some people aren't aware, and I wasn't really aware that that's what it is. But this teenage Groot is not the same as the Groot that was running around in the first movie.
So it's like the spawn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like if like a tree drops an acorn, that acorn grows to a separate tree.
Yep.
Okay.
It's really a different Groot.
Different group, different set of memories.
Right. So are we gonna get a different Groot the third movie, or is it gonna be the teenage Groot coming back?
Oh, I think it would almost certainly be teenage.
I'm sorry,
Groot.
fourth movie.
When did this be the?
I mean-
I mean, he's. Oh, did he stay around?
I think all of the Guardians bited except Rock.
Yeah, so he probably.
Oh, I think he did. He
Right.
floobity,
Yeah.
so he won't be around. He'll be around when they bring everybody back.
Yeah, right.
No Groot. So obviously, yes, they're going to come back, but as a factual matter, for the next year, those heroes that disappeared into ash are off the board.
Yeah.
They're not going to be showing up.
So
Look,
Ant-Man and Wasp movies and stuff.
So
although Ant-Man and Wasp, I think, is a prequel. I think theoretically, I don't know if officially, but I heard it was happening before the events of this movie.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if at some point during the battle or during that movie, maybe at the end.
At the end of which movie?
At Ant-Man.
Okay.
It'll be like, okay, well, we solved that problem. Either Ant-Man or Hank Pym or, Wasp. Well, that'd be terrible. They get back
She just came on
the
scene.
original Wasp, and then, let's see what's...
Either that, or maybe you get the first appearance of Thanos' ship in New York. Because they would have known that as you would think. Oh, horrible times are happening. Look at that, but suddenly they're like, and we saved the day.
Right.
What's that donut coming down out of the sky?
Right.
I don't know, something like
We're
that.
supposed to get that and Captain Marvel in between that and the next movie, right? Or are we?
Correct. Yes. So we'll talk about the post-credits.
Yeah, because people are imagining that Captain Marvel is going to be in the next Avengers movie. So I think they'll want to introduce her. I think they're either in the midst of production for it or finishing production for Captain Marvel.
They are definitely. They've at least gone several weeks of it. Yeah. Because there have been pictures from the set. So the final credit scene, Nick Fury disappearing.
Yep.
He's like, I got time for one thing. And he pulls out this old pager.
Yeah.
It looks like a pager anyway. A little,
From the
few
80s.
little, and he
Or 90s,
pushes the button
whatever it is.
before his fingers disappear. What would have happened if he disappeared first? You wouldn't have another movie. And so he sends a signal, the pager drops, and we see Captain Marvel's insignia on the pager. So, message sent. So, what do we theorize? Where is Captain Marvel? So, her movie is taking place in the 90s.
Yeah.
And we're supposedly also going to see, a younger Nick Fury, where he still has his eyes. So it's not like we'll probably find out how he lost his eye.
We could be seeing Haley Atwell in as Agent Carter.
Could be. Well, Maria Hill will be back. I think maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
So the idea is it's in the 90s. She's dealing with maybe the Skrulls, something like that.
Right.
And then obviously she's not around. She's not present for the rest any of the movies.
No.
Any of these. So either she's out in space,
I would think.
With Sword, I think.
or she's trapped in stasis or something.
Or
Let's bring her back.
Or
We
she
need
ends
her.
up time jumping.
Right. So maybe the easiest solution is that she's out in space, and then we're sending this to.
Right.
Alert! We were never going to call you, even though horrible things have been happening to the play. That we could have called you for the New York battle we thought.
No.
No, we can handle this.
Because theoretically, it's been since the 90s, and he's had this pager, and he could have called her any time.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm going to do this Avengers initiative. I think they can handle it.
Right.
Almost
Well,
didn't
here's
handle
the
it.
thing,
Woo!
though. It's
I'm glad they did.
Perhaps he had some foreknowledge that something was going to occur because he wasn't involved in most of what was going on with Thanos until the end.
Right.
So, he might have actually known, okay, this big thing's going to happen, or this big creature's going to come, and at that point, you should call me. So he wasn't, no one told him about Thanos. He wasn't involved in it, and also if they just called me before, I would have called Captain Marvel so much earlier.
She could have why didn't I push this button a week ago? I had to wait till my fingers were practically, cornflakes before I could push this button. So probably calling her from somewhere in space is probably the most likely angle. But so anyway, I'm gonna go see it again.
Yeah,
I definitely plan to see that again.
I didn't get to see it in IMAX this time because it was all sold out in IMAX. So my next viewing will be on the big screen, where I think movies like this are just meant to be seen, as opposed to, I don't know, like My Dinner with Andre. You're watching it on IMAX. You're like, oh great, I see the pores in his skin. So this space and like when they're doing the fights with especially when Doctor Strange is aiding with his magic, those bits are.
I like.
Oh, I forgot about that. I like all the multi-armed Doctor Strange.
Yes, and the little platforms that he was letting the Star-Lord run on, and using them as portals, kind of like Days of Future Past, which might become a Days of Future Past in the next movie. But that thing where there was I forgot which X-Men that could open portals, but it was that same idea. Open the portal, then back away, and then
Blink.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I liked the use of Doctor Strange's powers quite a bit, and that they explored that to its fullest. I think. Anyway, all right. So awesome. Thank you so much. Subscribe if you want to get some more information. We're going to be talking Westworld and Legion this week, but we'll be addressing new Marvel-y things as we discuss. Plus, Deadpool was coming out at some point here in the near future. Deadpool 2, and Venom, and whatever.
All sorts of stuff.
Yay! That. Bye, everybody. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.